But you know what? I'm really glad that we, you know, like I'm really into nothing, and I'm glad that we sort of like given it a new approach tonight. You know, add some new sounds and stuff like that. Because it's one of those songs that you know.
Oops, does he know where he's going? Oh, he's there. Oh, we were supposed to be talking about shit right here.
We got like tripped up on the wires.
That's fine.
Fail.
Yeah.
I'm really, you know
Hey.
what? We're playing.
Okay.
And
I'm there.
he's... I guess that the nature of the universe is creative, so everyone is a creative. But I guess the conscious choice to create or put energy in certain places or create things. And I guess if you're talking about art making, for instance, it's also energy work in a way. Like it's a processing technique, I think, of experience. Reproduction feels good, so that it happens, so that it will happen. You know, these things have like checks. For like us to find beauty in, say, works of art means that we're on the right track. It means that that's probably for the higher evolution. I mean, all of these things can kind of collapse on themselves, but if you just go with me on that one, then.
How'd you guys meet?
Craigslist.
We met Craigslist. It was it was a long time ago actually now. What, like a couple years ago?
Almost 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
2.5.
I had some guitar songs and the idea was like, okay, I want a producer and blah, 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 and someone to realize. And then I listened to John's stuff and I was like, this guy seems great. Because he had experimental I liked his whole style and everything. We worked up a show over a while. He ended up getting like...
Yeah, Native Instruments Machina. It's like a Berlin-based company. One of the best live shows I saw here was a noise night. It was maybe a dozen acts. Everyone just plugged in for like 10 minutes, played their shit, you know, blew everyone away. It's a very intense crowd.
Actually, I think that's where we overlap most, is like more like...
Nice.
So basically only listen to yoga music like at home.
Screamo yoga.
No, but I just listen to yoga music. But when I listen to
Could be a thing.
screamo, like or like our heart, like just like really intense stuff, it can be like metal stuff. I can understand. Like there was a band at Loophole, and they just played, just you know, like a wall of sound, and I find that really relaxing. So I've kind of tried to work this into a science. When I went to Vietnam, I really tried to design my schedule in a way that made the most sense for how I could open up creatively. So I had like 3 classes in the mornings, every morning, and that ended up being enough to support me while I was there. And then I had a yoga class in the middle of the day, and then I just decided to go home for 3 hours every weekday and just work on the songs and just see what happened, but like have my guitar and have that intention and not go to lunch or like go drinking or let the day kind of like go its own course. That worked, and that was awesome. That was a huge triumph for me, because after several months I had these first 10 songs, and they had different parts and they fit together and it all worked and they had lyrics, you know. Now that I do yoga, I would say 6 days a week. It's a creative tool, it's a life tool as well. I mean, it changes my complete perspective. It makes me a lot more open, or allows me to be, and opens up the breathing, just releases a lot of, you know, static that can get in the way, and that static can be like doubts or worries. It can also be like bodily pain or just feeling cloudy in your mind. And at first, I think it can seem like a big time commitment, which is why people might not be initially drawn to it, because they're worried about having enough time, but it just makes the quality of everything you do so much richer for me, and so much more enjoyable. Like having a good night's sleep, you know?
I do know that.
Yeah. So, yeah. So where I mainly write is just at home. I guess it takes a safe space. Sometimes if I ride my bike, like some people talk about this as well, the rhythm of riding your bike or sometimes walking can generate ideas. The iPhone, the recording device, has been super helpful for me. Just because I can record ideas, like when I was recording for comedy ideas and stuff, those would pop up every now and then I could just record them in there, or at least type them in. And that was helpful to have around, because paper and pen is sometimes a bit difficult. Well, creativity can be like dancing, you know? Sometimes people don't consider themselves as creative when they're dancing, but I think this is when you're really in the flow, you know? And you're able to, you're just responding, really. You're responding, which comes very naturally. And I think you can think of all creative work as a response.
I like that.